Hi everybody. Welcome to this talk. Okay, the name is the good practices in Android because the best practices don't exist. Okay, don't exist the word best practices. Forget it about that. Okay, my name is Jorge Barroso. Okay, I respond to all permutations or mixing of these four words. You can call me Jorge, you can call me Juan, Jorge Barroso, Carmona, every combination, and you can stop me, push me. Okay, I respond to everything. Okay, you want to talk with me? I'm going to be here today and tomorrow and Saturday. It's a pleasure for me to talk with you guys. I come from Spain, from a small village. It's called Machita. It's a really small place in middle of nowhere. It's 400 people living there. This is my second time there in this conference. It's an honor for me give this talk, and I'm going to give other talk after that. I think after lunch. I think it's around 3 o'clock. I am the Android guy in my company. I work in a small company in Karumi. I'm going to explain you after that what is it. I work in that, and I'm the guy of Android. Okay, and Google gave me a recognition. It's Google GDE, Google Developer Expert, that I say that I'm working for free for Google, coming a lot of places, and giving a lot of talks, and writing a lot of code. Okay, this is a recognition. I'm really happy to be a member, and I think there in this conference a lot of GDEs. This is my Gmail, my email. You can send me questions. Sometimes I spend more time in response than the other one, but I don't respond you, please send me again. Okay, you can send me people to my house, what you want. Okay, I finish responding you. Okay, you can ask me whatever that you want about work, about code. Send me your family's photos about your cat, best path here in Krakow to drink. I open for everything. This is my Twitter account. You can follow me. I have a competition with Cesar Valiente to have more followers than him. Okay, we have a really strong competition. We have a beers. And sorry, it's in Spanish. I trying to write in English, but my English is not really good. Sorry, but sometimes I write something in English or I made something about code, and I put something about Android development or functional programming or architecture stuff, and football, soccer. I made a lot of tweets about soccer and a lot of tweets about the stupid things and a guy eating around the world. I like travel, I like eat, a lot of photos and an ugly guy eating around the world. And the last one is my Google Plus. It's only there because when you search into me, when you type into me in Google, appear in the first position. Okay, it's only for this one. I work in Karumi. Karumi is my own company. It's a small company. We are 7 guys. We made applications and backend code. We are focusing quality. We are focusing create good software that you can touch, that is not broken, that is covered by tests, have good architecture, and is thinking well. We make application for 3 parties. Okay, a company requests to us an application and we develop, or we give training to people. We introduce to the teams. We go into companies, introduce inside the teams. We spend 1 week, 1 month, two months working with them, and we improve the testing, we improve the quality of the code, we put the architecture, we improve the process, and we work with them every day as a part of team member. And it's really fun. And the people is really happy. We give hugs and whisper, okay, it's working fine, no problem. And it's really beautiful. This is the team. I'm going to present the team in the other presentation. Okay, but this is the team that Karumi team. All everybody is really interesting people and really smart people. This talk is about good practices. It's about write good code in Android. My idea for this talk is when you go out, when you arrive to your home this night or this afternoon to the hotel, you're thinking, what kind of thing that Jorge told in his talk can apply tomorrow in my company? This is the only thing that is interesting for this one. Put that ideas in your head, because this is a really good quote that I like it. That is, any fool can write code that a computer can understand. Good programmers write code that human can understand. If you view the last presentation about the programmer, he said the same. Okay, remember that you write code for your partners. Remember that your partner can be a psychopath that know where you live, and you say, "Oh, what is this code? I'm going to kill this man. I got to kill this partner." Okay, think this one. Think that you are writing code for you in the future, for take the code you in the future, or for your partners. This is the most important. The machine is not important because the machine understands everything. The first thing about this talk is that silver bullet doesn't exist. I'm going to repeat this one. I think I repeat always in on all my talks. These are recommendations, are good practices, I think that I believe that are good, but are not silver bullets. Sometimes you can apply all that examples in your code. And we are going to read some examples that you can apply. Okay, you can apply the good practices. The first one is design tips, a couple of design tips that you can have in mind when you're working in Android. The first one, I think is really important. It's very important. Organize your styles and your dems. How many people have a style file, a really big style file in their Android projects? Okay. How many people have more than one style file? That's good. Okay. This is a really big problem. You must be thinking in splitting domains, that kind of files. Strings, colors, styles, dems, splitting in different files. And split those files by domains. Okay, the fit stems, the fin styles, the profile styles, config styles, creation styles. Because the problem that you have to have is when your team grow, when you have more than one developer, two developers, if you don't make this one, this file is going to be grow a lot. It's going to be huge, and it's going to have a lot of conflicts. Okay, this is really, really important. I give really good naming. Choose the naming really well. Talk with your designers. Talk with designers and they decide the name of the colors because they know the colors. What is the name? This is dragon red. This is light blue. This is smart yellow. Red wedding. Okay, and you go in and you put this color because when you talk with the designer, you're going to have a common language. This is really important. And the same for the styles. This one is how many people there are using merge in their files? Okay, and what people use custom views. Very nice. Okay, this is really important to you. Activities and fragments are the biggest files and the biggest classes in your code. You must keep in mind that you need to reduce that sizes only for reliability, only for the principle or this single responsibility. Okay, you need to divide this one for two reasons. The first one is for reliability, for have small classes, small files that can read easy. The second one is for so for refactoring. If I want to change something in a row, for example, I have the row with the name, the subname, the quote, and avatar. I have this one in all application. I only want to change one thing. I spend time to extract common things to merges and custom views. And the other one is for what is that? For refactoring. If I want to change something, I change only in one place. When I going to use a custom view and when I'm going to use a merge? This is a really difficult question for a lot of people. For me, I use a custom view when I have a logic that have an association with the view, and use a merge only when I'm setting things. Imagine, for example, I have a row. That's the row that have the name, the status, and the avatar. And the avatar is rounded. I can have a custom view because I want to make that round or that process only one time. But if not, it's only set up the text, the title, or similar I have in a merge. Okay, this is really important. I have logic, I use a custom view. Yeah, I have no logic, I use a merge. Other thing is you are using a custom view, you can flat. Is your render time is too high, okay, the overdraw is high, you can flatten your views using custom views. I think it's possible that Enrique talk about this one in his talk. Some generic code tips. It's important thinking in the code because it's the massive part of your application. And you are going to work every day in your code. And all partners are going to work in your code. You need to be efficient with this one, and you need to be really careful with the code. The first one is try to split your layers and split the responsibility of each layer. Depends on the application. If you are creating a chat, you are creating a store, you're creating a Strava, running an application. These layers could be different. Okay, in the next talk, in the talk on this afternoon, we are going to talk on deep in this part, how to split the application, how to create the layering. But for me, I always have a big part in the middle is the or domain logic, is the important thing that my application does. And I have a view layer and a data layer, and I split. This separation, not to be with modules. If you want to make with modules, okay, it's good, but good to me in the code. You have to be with packages or with domains, with folders, with whatever you want, or with the name of the classes. Have this split because it's going to be really important. It's going to be really important for maintainability and for extended code. Those were your interfaces. When I'm talking about interfaces, I don't talking about only for interface, for keyword interface. I was talking about your abstractions. Okay, create abstract. Please don't create a lot of RNC, big RNC, big inheritance extends classes. One class, other class, extend of this one, extend of this one, extend of this one, and you create 5 or 7 inheritance classes. This is really bad for maintainable code. Please think in composition sometimes. And the same, if you are going to have only one implementation for only one interface, doesn't make sense. Remove this interface. You are lacking your architecture. You are creating software that you don't need it because you only have one implementation. You are being over-engineered because you are not thinking in that what my software needed. You are thinking in what I follow these Karman rules or why I follow these testing rules. Okay, thinking always in your code and thinking what is important for my code right now. Please, the main thread is really important. Keep your eye in the main thread. Go out as soon as possible from your main thread, because if you make heavy operations over your main thread, you are sucking your performance. You are destroying your performance. And sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you don't know that you are doing something bad in your main thread. For example, if you are sorting a list of people in a chat, this is going to work well when you have 50 people or when you have 20 people. But when you have 100, 200, or 1,000 people, this is going to be really bad performance. Please move out of your main thread. Get out of your main thread as soon as possible. Don't write logic business code in the activities, please. Move out from the activities and move out from the main thread. Main thread is sacred. When you are making a code review, if somebody is making a bitmap treatment, a calculation, a string tokenizer, and time calculation in the main thread, say, okay, do you check that this is good to have there? Can you move outside to the main thread, please? Memory leak. Memory leak, the problem is not the class that giving the memory leak. This is only the point that they scale out your application. This is the point where the memory is full and the system tells to you, okay, I have a problem, I don't have memory, Was something happened wrong there? Keep an eye on this one. You need to learn to debug and learn to debug the memory usage. You can use the tooling that Android have. Android Monitor have a really good tool for view the memory. You can use Canary. You can use a lot of applications for view the memory. But remember, be careful with the context. Be careful parsing the context of the application for each classes and retain it. Be careful passing activities and retaining. I was watching a talk I think it's in Rome, in Italy, and a Google engineer say, don't use callback, callback can hell, because you are retaining the context and you're having a lot of problems, and you are destroying the performance and the memory of your application. Be careful with this one. Don't use callback, use buses. Use bus. Auto is really good. Use bus for everyone. No, please, calm down. It's not a problem. You need to learn to use this one, because with auto you can have memory leaks too. The thing one is use this one. How many people here know what is a weird reference? Okay, the other ones have a problem. You need to learn to use weird reference. Okay, if you don't know what is a weird reference right now in Android, you have a problem, because it's possible that you are pissing off your memory. You are taking the context and you are leaking all your cycle application and you are leaking all your memories. A weak reference is you have a strong reference. A reference, for example, when I have a field, I have a strong reference. And when this strong reference disappears, the garbage collector removes that memory. If I have a weak reference and a strong reference, when the strong reference disappears, the weak reference disappears too, and the garbage collector clean the memory. The problem is I, for example, creating an image loader, and I have the view attached, and it's attached to the content, and it's attached to the activity, and the view in my image loader. When this view disappears, this is a strong reference, don't disappear, and is leaking all my activity until the image is downloaded. Be careful with these kind of things. When you are using a library or you're creating a library, please use inside with reference. And these other important things is the Android is open source. You can go and read the code. When you have a problem, please before go to Stack Overflow to search, you must click on the method and go to the framework and read the Android code, because there is the truth. There is how Android works. Please don't be afraid to enter in the Android code and read the Android code, because you can debugging, you can reading, you can checking what is happening there. I say, okay, this is the bug, because the context is not using there, or because they have a cache. Share preference have a cache. I don't know in any place put that this have a cache. For this reason, my data is caching. For this one, the share preference is not updating. Oh, it's good. Okay, that's fine. This is the truth of the code. It's inside the Android. Please read the Android code. I know that the BU class have 10,000 line of code, and all members start with them, and some code is not really ugly. It's not really good, but are a lot of guys writing code for a lot of time, and it's possible that code is not the best, but always is the truth. I'm going to give you, somebody know this acronyms? Stupid? Somebody read again? No? Never? Okay. This is it's a book. It's called Clean Code, and from Clean Code we obtain two acronyms. One is stupid, as is the common problems that all developers have, and I'm going to show you that problems appear in Android too. And the other one is solid. How many people there know solid? Okay, and we are going to talk about solid after that and applying solid to the Android. Stupid is as important as solid. For me, stupid is the problem, the common problem that the people have, and solid is a way to fix that. The first one is the singleton inversion. In Android, it's really common to have a singleton inversion. A lot of people work with a lot of singletons. Remember that singleton is a pattern, And it's a good pattern with a really good purpose that is have only one instance of an object. I have an object, I only have one instance that is the true and is there in memory, and I only can access and only have one version. And this is good. That's the problem that if you use if you make a bad uses of a pattern, converts in an anti-pattern. And this is an anti-pattern, singleton inversion. That this code that everybody have in all applications. A lot of people, all activities, all create, say user data manager dot get this done dot has user with the context and user data manager get this done, blah 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 blah. Really, this is really common code. It's in a lot of companies that I visit have these kind of things. In all activities, have all that code, and make a refactor is really difficult, because change any code is all coupling, all code is coupled, and change this code is really difficult. And the problem is all that get distance. We are making get distance in our application. In application that I work, when I was working, I'm share reference of a data manager. Data manager is a beautiful name because it's anything. All is a data manager, no? All is a utils. All is a data manager. Is a crap boxes. And this is I share reference. I think it's near to 1,000 reference to get instance. That's completely crazy, because all my code know all my code, and try to write test with this one is impossible, because you can't mock anything. You can say, okay, I'm going to try to mock this one. No, I can't, because there is a distance and it's finished in the network, and you say, this is going to be really difficult. Be careful with singleton inversion. We need have singletons, but we are going to move to the corners of software. We are going to move to the correct place in the correct layer. The next one is tight coupling. All code is really coupling. All code knows all code. All classes know every classes, and the software is chunky. The software is interconnect. Every class know every class. You change something and you have a side effect and say, what's happened? I only changed the color of the air. Why the name is changing? What has happened there? Why I'm making a call to the network here if I call set user? Okay, this is a typical code. This is really typical code. I have the user data manager that I call in. I have a private user, get user with a context. Get user with a context. It's not, for me, it's not really good. No? It's a getter. A getter is obtain a property. Here, I'm not getting something. I'm getting more data getting something. ID, this is more or less good. Have a cursor there. I have a cursor provider, get user, blah, 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 cursor load from API. And this is returning a cursor. This is something weird. But I say, what's happened there? What's happened there? This is crazy. I have one user, and this user is coupled to the network, is coupled to the database, and is coupled to the domain. I am returning to the view. It's coupled to everything. This user know everything in the world. It's a user for everything. It's a user for the network layer. And I have that problem. No, I have a problem because when I call to the API, I am sending a bitmap. How can I ignore this one? No, I have a problem because I can't store this timestamp because it's a time object that I receive and I parse in. And no, I have this problem that I am leaking the context there because the user know the context. Please, you can split your models. You can create models for each layer. A model from the network, a model from the database, and a model from the domain, and a model for the view. The models that you know. Classes are free, okay? You don't need to pay to Google or to Oracle for each class that you write, okay? They are free. You can create all classes that you want. And I am returning a cursor there. I am leaking my method. I am leaking my implementation to the framework. I am making something that is not good. If I want to change the cursor for other things, for a list, for other stuff, I can't. I am leaking all my implementation to the framework. This is really bad for write test, and this is very bad for make a refactor. Okay. Cesar from Twitter have a really good talk about the problem that they have in Twitter for couple all architecture to cursors, and they want to change part of the application and then to make craziness code for try to extract all that thing. The U is untestability. Our code is untestable. Our code always in Android is untestable because when you learn Android, the Android guidelines never talk about write test. For me, test is really important part of the development day because it's your responsibility as developers that the code that you wrote work well. It's your own responsibility. Don't pay for create software. Don't pay for create for be imaginative, for create art. You are paying for create software that works well. Because for the company it's money. If I put in production an application and the buy button doesn't work, the company is losing money. And I am losing money too, because if the company lost money, they don't have money to pay to me, and I have a problem. And if you don't want the money part, if you are not professional, you say, well, I am not professional, I only come here only maybe because it's going to be easy for you, easy for maintain the code, easy for sleep. I'm going to sleep, I know that the code I put in production is working, and easy for write a refactor. Test is really important. And when you are writing code, you must test it. If you test the code that you write, if you test the code that you write, so it'll be easy, have better code, have improved your code and improve the testability. And are small things sometimes. Okay, look that code. How many people have this code in their projects? Tiny labs? A lot of people. Okay, this is untestable code. This is really difficult to test the code because I can't test this one. Because this is an static method in a final class. I need to use a power mock to write a mock about this one. And this is going to be difficult. And imagine if I want to write a test with this one, I need to wait the time that I need. For example, it's an hour. Each hour, check down an hour has passed and make something. I want to wait an hour, an hour, really? This is good? I think so, no, for write a test. The idea, I can wrap this class with a time provider or time machine or whatever that you want. I have an implementation for testing and other implementation for the real code. The real code return system current time list and the testing one return canned value. Okay, can have a step and I can set in value and say, okay, the time is increased in whatever and it's working. Think in this kind of thing, this kind of stuff when you write code. Think how your code affects to the testability. The problem is when you have a huge base of code and do you want to introduce test. But this is a big talk and this is a big problem that you can get it to me and explain you some techniques to fix this one. Premature optimization. This is really important. Please think in that you are coding that you are writing. For example, a lot of people made this one. No, I'm going to create a static because a static code, final static code is faster. Yeah, but you are leaking your application. You are leaking your software. Please think on the people that's going to use, not think on the code that you are writing. Okay? Please don't make this one. Write a setter. It's going to be easier. Write a setter because if this change, is this name change, or if you make something there, or did you make something? I don't know. Store in other place, you can, okay? Be careful with premature optimizations. And descriptive naming. In development, exist two things that are really difficult. The first one is invalidation cache, and the second one is in the naming. Choose a correct naming. Take your time take your time with your partners to define the name of the things. This is going to be called a repository because it's a repository. This is going to call it data source because it's a data source. All users are going to be called users and non-accounts and not whatever. Take a glossary of terms inside your company. There, for example, what is a value? What is a value? What is a map? Map what? Map of what? Map of users? Map of people? Map of what the fuck is this one? Okay. What is two? What is it two? Value get type. Is it two? No, I didn't know. It's my user, current user, whatever user, and this method say get user, but is if two, don't return the user, return null. What's happened there? I don't know. I don't understand anything of this class. You must enter to a method, enter to a class, and understand all the code. This is the most important thing that you must make in the code. Be descriptive. And the D is duplication. Okay, don't dry the code. Don't repeat yourself. If you have code, and if you use only once, you put in your class. If you use 2 times, extract to a method or a class. If you start in some places and you can generalize to T or generalize to classes or generalize to design patterns. This is the rule that need to follow to duplication. Don't stand to extract before use one time, okay? If you say, no, it's possible in the future that can use this one, I'm going to create a lot of interfaces, factories, blah, blah, blah. No, make in the correct time, okay? Because you have tests and you can refactor. For example, this is the common code I watch in all applications. This is a Erect Java piece of code that the people put right in all activities. In all their activities, observable, blah, 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 on error, blah, 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 repeat code, duplication code, in all code. If I want to change this one for, I don't know, for any kind of test code, it's impossible. Please, extract this one to a collaborator, extract this one to the base class, extract this one to this one. And Dan Lau have a really good article about how to extract this one. And you can make with an interceptor, you can extract this one and only have one line of code, only one provider for this one, and change the code for testing. A generalized error is easy. Think on duplication. If you are writing the same code 3 times, you are duplication guy, and you're going to spend code maintaining these lines. And solid. What is solid? Solid is the same, it's acronyms. Okay, and it's from clean code. I'm going to check that one. Single responsibility principle. The classes must be one thing and only one thing. Please, if I have a class, must be only one thing. Activities are not controllers. Activities are binders. The only objective to one activity is bind the XML values with the view values. And take callbacks and call to whatever, a controller, a presenter, a model view model, or whatever that you want. But only are binders. Please move if code, move business logic out of the activities and fragments. Please. This is domain code. This is code that is linked to the domain. Move aside from there, not be in the activities. But be, for example, in a controller. Controller get user with a beautiful lambda. This is beautiful code. Please move out of your UI, because it's going to be easy for test, easy for maintain, easy for repetition, and easy for read. The O, OpenClosed Principle. Classes must be open to extension, closed to modification. I say this is really difficult for a lot of people. I have a problem with this one. I'm going to write an example. This is an adapter. How many people have that kind of adapters? Adapter with an if is blah blah blah, I may blah blah blah, if blah blah blah, I may blah blah blah, if may blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and it's growing and growing, and I have adapter with 1,000 lines. And I say I'm going to take it an adapter, but I don't not put in other class. I'm going to put inside activity, and I have 10,000 lines activity. When the half is an adapter, and I write a rayon. I'm going to write a comment there. Here appear the adapter code. No, please. This is a violation of OpenClosed Principle, because if I need to modify my software, I need to go there and modify my software. I don't want to modify my software. I want to extend. Can I extend user patterns? For example, there I have a factory. I have an interface, it's fit entry, and this is all code that I need for my adapter. If I need to create a new row, I create a new entry in this factory that I can provide from outside. This is beautiful code. It's easy to stand, easy to test, easy to modify. Okay? This is the idea that we to have. Create most reliable code. I think this is easy to read. It's easy to read that the previous code. List of substitution. This is easy. Is looks like a duck, sounds as a duck, but have batteries is not a duck. But this is the principle. If you have something that is similar to other one, but it's not the same, it's not the same. This is Liskov is a girl, is a very intelligent girl that work with a lot of definition of the language, and he defined that a class always must be substituted, changed by the parent class. But okay, if I have, for example, animals, I can substitute a dog, a cat, and whatever for an animal. That's it. No? And sometimes this is the difficult to resolve in Android. How many people know what's happened there? Is any different if I call a start activity with different contexts? Yes. If I have an application context, I need to introduce the new task activity. If I have an activity context, I don't have to put that extra. This is really bad. This is really bad because the principle substitution, the list of substitution is broken. I can't change one context from other context. I am lying to my software. And the same happened with when we make from a fragment get activity, and sorry, from a fragment get activity, I make a cast to the activity. We are broken a list of principle. We are taking on a top hierarchy class. And the problem is when I move this fragment to the other place, to the other activity, my application is going to break. And the problem is that this bug and the other bug is in runtime. The compiler is not telling me you have a bug. You discover when your application is in production or when you are running your test, if you have test. Okay. And what is the solution for this one? No, you don't have solution. The solution, okay, you have in your activities, open activities, and don't receive a context, receive an activity. It's a good solution. It's you are saying with a method, with a proxy method, you are forcing to pass the correct thing. Interface segregation. This is, please have a small interfaces. Okay, you try to have a small interfaces and split in a small one. For example, this is an animation listener. This is from the animation class. The good solution for this one is the framework is well made. Is have different interfaces. One for animation start, other with end, other with cancel, and other with repeat, and with better solution. And I can use lambdas, for example. It's really good. I'm going to have a smarter code and a small code. But we can, because we are using the framework. A solution could be create an empty animation listener that implements interfaces, and I can pass this one, and only implement a start, and I don't have that big interface implementation. It's a good solution. It's not the best one. It's not the best one, I know, but it's a solution. And for example, I can make is create a constructor, create an start animation listener, and in the constructor receive a lambda, and I can reduce the code that they have. It's more readable. Dependency inversion. Please don't confuse dependency inversion with dependency injection. Dependency inversion is the principle of Hollywood. You don't call me, we call us. Okay. You don't create classes. You are going to receive. Somebody is going to provide to you classes. For this reason, we can use construction patterns like builders, factories, service locators, or dependency injection. Okay, but it's a lot of cake patterns, free monads. It's a lot of ways to make this one. This is a new cursor ladder. If I have this one in all my activities, in all my percenters, in all my code, I have problem to write tests. I have the problem to write good software. Solution. have a builder, with a URI and create. And here I can create my own cursor, a matrix cursor, I don't know, a SQL cursor, it's whatever I want. And here I'm taking the top in the hierarchy. That's going to be really good. Okay, going to the top of the hierarchy, and it's going to be easy to write the code. And if you want to improve this code, you can wrapper this one with your own implementation, and you can change and remove the loader in the future. And this is the last slide. The most important one is open your mind. Okay, try to open your mind. Try to read out of scope. Try to read code about Swift. Go in talks with Swift, with other languages, with functional programming, with architecture, and open your mind and try to move that knowledge to you. This is really important because you need to grow up as a developer. You need to criticize all code that you read. Try to read a lot of code. Try to learn a lot of things because practices are in the code that you read, not in the code that you program. Okay? All your experience is going to make better programmers. This is only some good practices for bad code that I read in my career. But you can learn a lot what's in solution from other people. Okay? I don't know if somebody have questions or we don't have time. I don't know.
I've got a question.
Hi.
I've got a question about caching because in our applications there are those places where you were talking about singleton invasion that we shouldn't something that get instance that get user, and we've got it, and how can we change it to make it better, to make it clean?
We are watching this one in the next application, but the idea is cache. Remember that we need to split. We need to split our layer application. Have split layer separation, good separate layer separation. Caching is a part of our data model. It's a part of our data problem. Must be in the data layer, and we take the caching and move to the data layer. And who is going to obtain information from the cache? Our domain. My domain code is the centric code. Need to, for example, have a class and is get user, and invoke get user, and get user talk with the cache or talk with other pattern, repository pattern, what you want, but talk with the cache, take the information, convert to the domain, and return to the view. Okay, imagine that now we have a lot. We don't have a singleton. Activities don't know anything about the cache. He make questions to the domain, and the domain make questions to the data layer, obtain information, and return. The singleton is there because the information is all in one place. But the only tool that know this one is the data, and the domain make questions. Okay, we always remember single responsibility. The responsibility to the get user class is obtain the user. The responsibility for the cache is store information, and the responsibility to the view is obtain a user. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you was talking about separation of layers. What kind of separation are you using, like MVP, MVVM?
I'm going to explain in the clean architecture talk. We are making a clean approximation that we call use cases. It's based on ideas of Sandro Mancuso and Uncle Bob. And we have a model representer for the view representation. We have domain-centric with clean and use cases. And we have repository patterns for the data layer.
So there will be another presentation on that?
We have a model representer.
No, a presentation. There will be another presentation about that?
Yes, it's after
Okay, so
after coffee. I think it's around the 3.
I will keep my main question till then. So
okay, yeah, I'm going to explain all full stack about clean, about our implementation on clean, and implementation considerations for the software. I don't know if more questions.
Thanks for the talk. You've been mentioning before that you had this conversation with a Google engineer on using event bus or not using event bus. So I've been actually using event bus for quite a while, and I think there are a few problems. Like you end up with an event for pretty much every action you want to take, and you have to adopt like very strict naming policy to be able to access all those events. What's your opinion on how can you make reactive Java and event bus work together?
For me, people is using one event bus. It's using the bus pattern. They are converting in the Goto. They are converting in the Goto of the century. The problem with event bus, the idea of event bus is connect layers, connect systems that are not connected between them. Systems that have their own life cycle of life. For example, I have a downloader applications, or have a chat or something that is always running. I need to notify to take a notification out of people. For example, the intents, the broadcast intents are an event bus system, and it's really good because the system is notifying to everybody. The problem is that the people is using this one to change the thread, to change from main thread, from go out the thread and come back to the main thread. And the problem with this one is you are leaking your architecture because you are having you need to have a lot of knowledge about the architecture. And the problem with and using Java and buses, you can do. But the problem with Java that the people is doing the same. People is using Java to go out of the main thread, not because they have a reactive problem. I think that you can make implementations, basic in promises, basic in callbacks, basic that is going to be easier to read than Java. But this is a personal consideration. Okay, I use Java when I need to create reactive code. For example, I have a chat that create notification, or I have a whatever that I need to compose observables. And I use promises when I need to make a launch. I need to receive a promise, and I use callback when it's easy way. But the problem is we have a tool and we use for all, and sometimes this is not the best solution to fix a problem. And use Java and Boost together. Yes, if you have a system, I used this one in the past. We have a system that is inside a phone, and it's a store, and it's the loading application and outdating application. I was launching a message for the bus. I have a center, and they take and make reactive, create reactive this call. Okay, and this is a good approach from use buses and Java.
Okay, I've been using reactive Java. There is a description I like a lot and says that the Java is a iterator pattern for asynchronous flow of data. So typically when you want to read something or you're waiting for a web service to download any kind of information, and I'm using this in combination with event bus. Event bus doing the decoupling of all the components. So that means I can download with Java, and then I can communicate to a component that there is new data already. But there is new things happening every few months, and I think this description updates every 6
Yeah,
months
the problem for me, the most important part of the code is readability. The buses don't increase the readability. And Java is a combination of 3 parts: iterator pattern, observable pattern, and functional methods. Some kind of functional. It's not completely functional. And this is the good part, the combination of 3. For this reason, it's really good Java, because you have observables and you have iterators. The problem sometimes is that have a really deep. The problem with Java is that people don't spend time in create a layer over Java, giving semantic to Java. For me, this is a problem, because sometimes you are reading code and you watch, okay, this is a map with a flat map, with a filter, with a blah. What are you doing here? Please take this one, extract to a method, and call getUser. And this is really important when you are writing code with Java. And the problem with the Boost for me is only semantic. It's only semantic, and it's testability. And sometimes the problem with the buses is that they are not guarantee they don't guarantee the ordering. Sometimes it depends of the subscription. And did you not? sometimes are leaking. You are leaking. For example, if you don't unsubscribe a bus, you can leak in. You can leak code. You can leak memory too. I don't like too much. I think you can create the same code with callback sometimes, and it's not a problem.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. No more questions? I'm going to be there all day and all day tomorrow. If you have any questions, it's a pleasure for me to respond. Okay. Thank you very much.